up, YouTube? Kyle here for Boss Tcg, your home for competitive TCG news and content. And you guys are watching the second episode. We actually got to a second episode, guys. And I'm here with the lovely Daniel. Say hi to everybody, Daniel.
How's it going?
So we are, episode 2. And this week, I've named the episode. I like to name episodes. I've been starting to do that. I did not name this episode. I'm a liar. Well, maybe we'll call it that. Like, I didn't name the episode, and I'm a liar. That'll be the whole title of the episode. Who knows? But we do have a bunch of stuff on the docket. We have like 7 or 8 different topics, maybe 6, somewhere there. It's a ton of stuff. But we're gonna be going over if you could side deck in a best of 1 tournament. Cool new mechanics that we'd like to see. If Battle Spirits Saga had a TV show. We're going to be doing the fans draft. Now, Daniel, I'm pretty sure you watched last week's episode. We had to cut it. And Daniel, do you want to tell them why we had to cut the fantasy draft from last week?
All sorts of issues, man. I think I was the start of it. We had to redo the entire recording after we had already. It was almost an hour and a half worth of content that we had to throw out because my audio just did not work at all.
And then we did it a second time, and my audio recorder that we found another way to do our audio, get good audio, and my audio recorder died about 32 minutes in. And then I switched the batteries. I guess I put bad batteries in. Lost. Was on for like 2 minutes. That died, and then we just got to get this done because I couldn't find my charger, and my computer was gonna die. So I was like, okay, we're just gonna close this out. So you guys really got like a half episode. So we're actually really on episode 1.5, not 2.
I kind of like that.
Yeah. No, we're not doing that. We're not gonna be the weird ones because nobody will ever know coming to the podcast. What is
why there's a 0.5?
Why is it 0.5? Are we in like Kingdom Hearts and they just like to put half episodes up every week? I don't know.
Yeah.
But then we're also going to be doing I know these last 2 topics are ones you want to talk about, Daniel, but what to expect from different type of tournaments you're going to, and also the accessories you should be buying when you are getting into a card game.
Yeah.
So, big thing I want to know is, how has your week been there, sir?
My week's been great, bro. It started off with the store championship this Sunday. I was piloting Caleb's List, the winner of the Pro Tour, and it performed exceptionally. I had no idea what to expect. I have been making my own deck since the game came out, really, just using other people's as reference. This is the first time I've rolled up on a tournament with someone else's list entirely.
This is the first time you've been net decking, bro? It's the first time you net decked?
I really wanted to see what it was, what was it worth its salt? And holy, that deck is crazy. It is very well tuned. It feels like you're just constantly drawing the card that you need. It really showed me what it means to build a truly good deck, not just what you think is good, but what is actually
this shows
good.
Like what you need to be playing if you're a pro at a game.
Yeah. And what like the mindset when it goes into deck building is it's very different. I mean, I personally was not the type to play 3-ofs. I thought that was a really gross ratio. Like even just looking at my deck on paper and seeing like a 3-of was really frustrating, but in play it actually functions the way you need it to. In certain instances, I don't think you play 3-ofs of everything, but he plays like 3-of Rocket City and 3-of Dream Bomb, and those 2 cards, while they're not cards you necessarily need to see multiples of every match, you want to see at least one. And that 3-of in the deck list, it functions in that sort of way. It's a utility. You just gotta see it.
The way I go into deck building, and it's take my suggestion with a grain of salt, but I like to go, if I'm doing 4-of, I want to be guaranteed to see 2 per game. If I'm going 3, I want to be guaranteed to see one, but I would 60 to 70% of the time be able to see a second one throughout a game. 2 is to guarantee that I see one about 80 to 85% of the time, and then 1-of is, hey, I got cards that really, work in different scenarios. I don't need them, but it's just like a win more card. Like I do that with my deck, and we'll actually talk about this a little bit more later, and I'll spoil the card. I was going to talk about one, but since the way this podcast is going, I'm going to do this one. But I play Platinum, Platinum Dragon Lord something?
Yeah.
Or it's
his name is Platinum.
It's like Dragon Lord Platinum or something like that. He's that 6 minus, I want to say he's minus 3.
3, right?
And then he pops up everything that's 3k or fewer, and that includes your spirits. So, like, for me, like, the combo with that and Valkyrie Miss is the reason why I play it. I only play one in my deck. It's more of like, hey, it'd be nice to see it, and it lets me take a different avenue of play when I do see it, but I don't need to see it, 90% of my games. It's
exactly,
and that's why you play one of those. But when you're playing in this game, especially you have no search, 3 ofs I think is, if it's a card you only want to see 2 of 80% of the time, go with 3 ofs. You don't need 4 of them.
Yeah.
So
I definitely. Well, I will say too, even in our matchup, you use that Platinum dragon against me, and it ended up bouncing quite a few of my elementals back to my hand, which made that turn very scary because I suddenly had no blockers anymore.
Yeah, and I think it'll be good against green tokens. But what else happened this week for you, brother man?
Well, we also had locals on Tuesday. Oh, I did win that store championship.
Yeah, I was trying to like push past it. I didn't want to talk about it because our final match was super close, and you just pulled it out.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was really impressed with your deck too. I mean, like I said, I didn't build my deck. It kind of feels hacky to use someone else's deck and win, but on the other hand, I do want to have practice just to know what the strengths and weaknesses are of that deck, as I do expect to see it a lot this season.
Yeah, you'll see it during Tulsa, and you'll see it during Monroeville. It's just guaranteed. You're planning to go to both, right?
I am, yeah. I actually need to buy or get like tickets, like flights for that like tonight. So I'll probably be doing that after the podcast.
I guess I'll be helping you with at least Monroeville. I'll probably stay on with you and do that with you.
That'll be nice. But, and then Tuesday was just regular tournament, and I did take that one home with the same list too. So that was pretty nice. Like I said, I have way better, or I guess more of a grasp on the deck and what it's trying to do. I just wanted more practice with it. Going into Ohio originally, that was the deck that caught me the most off guard, and I did not want to play against it, and I had to multiple times. So now I feel a little bit more comfortable in that matchup.
Yeah, and it's good to play if you already know the deck that you're going to be taking to these events. It's good to play every other deck at your locals, because you're going to understand the mindset in certain scenarios, especially if some of your locals is playing the same deck as you are playing to play, and you're able to play against them and see their line of play, and then talk to them afterwards, kind of see what they were thinking in certain aspects and if it was the right play. But yeah, no. And then what'd you do? Did you do anything else? Did you go to Cool Stuff this week?
I did not. We actually kind of knew that event wasn't going to kick off just because of how everyone's schedule was lining up to be for this week.
Yeah.
So I actually decided to sit that one out. I think, well, I mean, we have 2 more tournaments this weekend. So
we got Cool Stuff Saturday. It's Cool Stuff on Saturday, and they're actually putting up their 2-player mat, which you were able to acquire. You showed that off on Sunday. So they're super cool. I thought they were going to be like these, crappy quality, but the quality on them are super nice.
Oh yeah, they feel nice. I mean, we played on it all day on Sunday. Yeah. And I actually really did enjoy it. You don't have to put out anything for your life or like any kind of reference. You have everything you need there. And
it looks good too. So like if we ever decided to record with it, it just looks nice the whole time. And then Sunday, I know we have another store championship at the same place we went to this week.
Yeah. I'm hoping to play in both. So I got some friends that are interested in the game. Obviously, my brother plays. Yeah. So we're going to try to get my cousin to go to at least one of them. I think it'd be cool. Well, I don't care which one, as long as he comes out and plays and has a good time.
That's the big thing. Like, just we want people to come out and have a good time. And if you're too pushy, sometimes it pushes people away from the community. But yeah, dude, my week has been hectic. Especially So this week, the kid went back to school. He went back to school
Mhm.
today, which that was a whole hassle today. Not on his side, actually, the school messing up. They either gave us the wrong bus to put him on, or they didn't. They have something wrong with our location because his bus stop's like over a mile away, bro. It's terrible.
Oh my god.
And
Yeah.
we're sitting at
Especially
the
in this
house.
heat. Oh.
Yeah, we were sitting at the house, and my girl gets home. She usually gets home about a half hour after he gets home. I'm like, oh, it's first day of school. Everything's gonna be a little bit behind. Okay, cool. He's not there. So that's at 4:30. He usually gets home at 4, or gets off the bus at 4. 4:30 rolls out. Okay, yeah, maybe a half hour. Everything's just taking a little longer. 4:45 rolls around, and I'm like, okay, this is a little weird. 5 o'clock rolls around, and I'm like, okay, now I'm getting worried. 5:15, we drove over to a stop, sat there, and then relooked on the school website for like his drop-off point, and we were on the totally wrong road. But they also put him on the wrong bus. But the bus driver took him to the proper spot. But still, I gotta go to the school on Monday and kind of talk to him about his bus pickup and drop off. Because
For sure.
dude, a mile, like he'd probably take him about 20 minutes to walk a mile to his bus stop. So he'd have to leave for school like 6:15 in the morning, which I mean isn't that bad, but it's Florida, and the area I live in, I don't trust him to walk that early in the morning. Nope, no.
Yeah, no,
Safety.
especially coming home too. That's like 100-degree heat this time of year too.
Oh my
Not
god,
enjoyable.
dude. And we're not even at the tail end of the summer here in Florida. Like that's when it's gonna be like it's gonna be 100 out, and it's gonna feel like 110 with humidity.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be gross.
So yeah, and then today we this week dealt with getting him ready for school and getting him back on the sleeping schedule for school. I also did a bunch of the templates for all of the podcasts we're gonna be doing on Boss Tcg. So I started doing all those, laying out days to shoot different things and who I need to hire, stuff like that. So we're in the process of that. Working on the business license side of stuff, making sure that we do everything the first time, because I've had a couple businesses where we've sent in the paperwork wrong, and it's taken a month or two for them to fix everything.
Dude.
It's a pain in the ass. So doing
For
that,
sure.
and then did that, but got family in this weekend. Today, my girlfriend's cousin came in with her son, who's 6, so he's prime age to get him into playing Pokemon competitively. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Yep, juniors, and being able to play for 7 years and maybe win a couple of worlds, I'd be kind of sick, because he's an intelligent little guy. And then just played. I don't want to even talk about my play this week. I was on that high from winning last week, and then I just got shot down. But I think it was more of I beat a matchup I was thinking it was gonna be a hard matchup, and that was against your cousin, the Red Pterosaur. I thought I'd have trouble with that. I actually figured out a line of play against that deck that makes it easier and flips the math from being like a 30-70 in their favor to like a 60-40 my favor. Just the way the line of play works out. And then that was Tuesday. When I played you, I actually realized what I need to do on my sideboard. And my opinion on the sideboard is always to make your deck, really good against, a couple matchups are pretty even with that, and then use your sideboard to emphasize your tougher matchups. So we put in oh no, we're not gonna talk about that, but we put in a combo that has to do with purple. It's gonna be it'll be worth it for the scenario that comes up with that deck. It's public knowledge; everybody knows about the list. Once you bring out Enterprise, the game's over. There's no way, especially unless you can't get Derm on the field. The game's over, because you give me the protection against everything except for green and yellow. But I'm not playing Exhaust Nexus. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing something with 7 that is one card and only helps me on one turn. I would prefer something that helps me multiple turns.
And Exhaust Nexus doesn't even kill Enterprise. It's just like You'd
Yeah.
have to have at
Well,
least
no. Why
what, like
wouldn't
two
it?
or three?
Oh yeah, because you need three of them.
He's
Because
huge.
because you would need to be hitting what he's at. What's his?
I
He's
think he's at
11K. It's
12,000.
no,
No,
no 12K. Yeah, 12K on him. So
you'd have to have four. You'd have to have all four.
right. Yeah. And I can't target them, so you can't use whites. You can't do anything. So you have to do something that either affects the board or is yellow or green, and nothing destroys in green right now. So it only exhausts, and that doesn't help you in that matchup. So we mess with the sideboard. We're gonna be testing that, and actually kind of talking about putting that in the sideboard. And these events are best of ones. Let's get into our first topic. Our first topic is, and I brought this up to you when we were going to record yesterday, is if they had a best of, or in a best of one, if you could side deck. And you looked at me, you're like I'm pretty sure that's illegal. So what I mean by that is if you were able to, let's say it's 4 rounds, you play round 1 and you look around at everybody around the table and you're seeing, let's say you're playing white but you don't have elephant in, and you're seeing, I don't know what, give me a color that white's bad against. I want to say it's
like red, maybe.
Red.
If it's like the wrong type of matchup with red,
Yeah.
it can just be bad.
And
especially without the elephant.
Yeah, and let's say your sideboard you have enterprise, so you want to be able to sideboard that in. The way that tournaments work now is if you're in a best of one, your sideboard is useless. There's no point of you bringing one. But if you could switch out cards in sideboard in between rounds, like you have to play round 1, basically treat the tournament like one big game, like one big round where you could in between games switch stuff in the sideboard. I think that'd be interesting and make best of one a little bit more enjoyable.
I have to agree. I mean, I had never thought about it like that, and it's been something on my mind since you brought it up. I gotta be honest. I've been just like racking my brain. I know, especially around the time that Set 1 had come out, we didn't really have the tools, like not necessarily all the tools of the first tournament pack out yet. It was just the first few weeks. I played against a lot of red Pterosaur with my purple deck, and when you summon Maduke and your opponent was not main decking Dream Bomb, because why would they? You just won.
Yeah, 100%.
That was it. You could punish them for going wide with the Curse Dragon, Baculus combo, and if they try to go tall, build something really big, you just throw out Maduke and you say, okay, I win now.
But imagine if they could go, the person next to you says, oh, well, I'm pretty sure I'm going to play him, and
they know me, the purple main.
Yeah, exactly, the purple whore, the one that walks the purple corner. But if they see it like, oh, well, there's purple, and I just won, and I know I'm going to play him, especially right now since tournaments are so small, 6 to 10 people at the most. That if you be like, okay, or especially if the whole meta, if you're thinking your local, everybody's like loves purple, and then everybody decides to bring red one week, and you're playing like, I got to win this week because I need the winners promo because I'm looking for a specific card, because I want to trade that for something else. You're like, okay, well I got my or let's say you're playing Pterosaur and you're like, okay, well I put my Dream Bonds this week, but then you're like, oh, there's no, I'm playing decks now. There's no purple. There's no point of having Dream Bomb. So I think it'd be something that would be interesting, and they could actually make bigger tournaments best of one too. Like imagine having the options for like official side tournaments at regionals and stuff like that, or grand opens. That you're able to like, okay, these are all best of one, but you're able to side deck within this pot or something like that. I think it'd be super interesting, and I think it'd put some diversity in the game when it comes to reading your local tournament, weekly tournament, stuff like that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think best of ones is something that a lot of outsiders look at and they're just disgusted. I mean, it's a big thing in Japan, and in the States, not a lot of
I'm a little disgusted. I'm not gonna lie, I'm disgusted by it. But I'm coming from Pokemon as well, so like that's why I'm disgusted by it, because it's terrible in Pokemon.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say too. Like, if you're traveling to a new area and you don't know what the local meta is like, the idea of having that safety blanket of like, oh, I have these 10 cards. If this locals that I'm traveling to is gonna have a ton of purple, I got my drain bomb in that example, or even if I'm not even sure what cards you could tech for specific metas, but even if you're bringing just like, oh, I could change my main deck so that it's more all around good as opposed to having these specific
Like,
one of techs just
imagine
thrown in.
imagine if you're traveling to it and you're playing a white deck, but you're playing like an aggro build, and you're
Yeah,
not playing Enterprise. Or you're playing Enterprise, or you're playing deck with Enterprise, isn't it? And then you roll up to the tournament and it's all green.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You're like,
Or
oh,
all
I don't need him.
yellow. Yeah.
No, I think it's definitely a really interesting idea, especially when it comes to deck building and how right now I don't know if everyone builds their decks this way, but if you're playing, our store championships are best of ones, our locals are best of ones. So when we go to those events, you have to build your deck with that in mind. You have to play these certain, one deck or one card in deck outs, or even if right now, honestly, you kind of need something to bounce and have an axe biter or try to deal with it a little bit so you could get some damage in. So those
Mm-hmm.
dream bombs are almost mandatory. But if you could take out you know, some of your main deck dream bombs and put in a card that's just better all around. Like even if that's an extra burning force and
Yeah.
to deal with some of these netherworld depths or whatever the case may be, I think it would help a lot of new players feel like, okay, well I
And
have this
and it
in
makes
my
them more
back pocket.
comfortable. Yeah, and it makes them more comfortable. They don't have to jam 10 extra cards to deal with the meta that they don't know what they're going to, so they just drop everything that's required for all different type of matches. Basically, jamming their sideboard into their main deck to play a tournament, and then making them less um, consistent. But we on that note, we should get to the next topic. So we're not having a 7-hour podcast. Um, what I wanted to talk about next is one of the first topics you brought up, and that's when you're going, what to expect. Actually, this is a perfect segue. What to expect when you're going to different level tournaments. So, going
Yeah.
to your locals, going to a store championship, doing an online tournament, grand open. Um, I think I can talk about pro tours, not from the aspect of going to a Battle Spirits Pro Tour, but going to an IC for Pokemon. It's a
Yeah.
similar feel. It's a higher level competition, and I don't know. I at least can't talk about on a world's stage. So like I wouldn't be able to really talk about that. Maybe you do, or we can just speculate basically of our experience playing card games.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing that I'd like to say is if you're going to a locals or even a store championship, be experimental. If you have a build on your mind that you want to try out, something that you're looking to test, bring it. And that is a perfect place, even if that's not going to be the deck you're playing during the event, it's a really good place to pick up games with people who are just excited to be there. All sorts of different players will be at your locals, at these store championships. I know, especially in season one, I'd go to a new card store and I'd be like, oh my goodness, I've never seen any of these players before. I was traveling sometimes an hour and a half to go to store championships after work.
Where are you going? An hour and a half away.
Clearwater, up from
Clearwater, from
yeah,
work. Oh yeah. Oh, I'm
from
thinking.
work.
I'm thinking from your house. Yeah. No, it takes about half. Yeah,
Oh
it
no
makes
no,
sense.
yeah, no, it take me about like 45 minutes to get
Mm-hmm.
home and then 45 minutes to get to these card stores, and I just I'd be shocked. I'd see all sorts of stuff. I mean, I remember playing against the Luster in the final round of my first store championship that I won, and I had honestly no idea what to expect, and my opponent didn't either. And I had Maduke at level 3, so she was giving all my curse units blood curse, and I
Mm-hmm.
had an Aglaville that had blood curse and curse, and a
Mm-hmm.
Camelot Knight, and my opponent used Exhaust Nexus during my attack and
Oh
killed
my
my two
god.
and died immediately. I was like, I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry.
That's not
I
even
can't
what
let
this
you
card
take that
did.
back. I mean, we're nice
No.
guys. We'll allow it, but like when it's actually for me and for you guys, it's a good thing to kind of bring up. Be okay with making mistakes and don't ask
Yeah.
to take them back. Because that's how you learn.
It's true. Yeah.
Dude, when I first started playing Pokemon, I would get judge calls all the time on me for doing something out of like wrong. And I mean, the first 2 times it was like, hey, can I take that back? And it was just like locals. And I was like, they're like, oh yeah, take it back. But then I started being like, hey, no, I'm not going to ask to take it back. I'm like, okay, I'll take my wounds and I'll lick them and come back and not make that mistake. It actually teaches you better.
Oh, I think it does too. And that's just from what you expect from bringing things, like bringing a deck. In those 2 events too, bring your trades. Bring your binder full of cards. Bring your hollows from the boxes you've opened recently, if you have any, or your extras from some of the starter decks that are exclusive. And just talk to your players. Plan to be there longer than the event runs. I don't think I've ever left on time for any of the locals or store championships. I get there early and I stay late because it's just a lot of fun. You meet a lot of new people. You get a lot of new people into the game because if they see an active community there, they're going to be interested. We were just at our locals on Tuesday, and somebody was from like 2 hours away at our locals. And
is that the dude that his community plays? What's that new one? The new
Shadowverse.
Shadowverse. That was that guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was telling us that he was like, oh, everyone at my locals plays Shadowverse, but I want to play Battle Spirits because I like the aesthetic more. I like the mechs and the dragons more than the anime girls.
Yeah.
And he was like, I wish people played this up around us. And I told him, if he ever made it out here again, I doubt that 2-hour drive is fun to make in the middle of the week. But told him if we ever saw him again, then we'd be happy to play.
Hey, maybe he'll be at the store championship. Who knows? He'll be there just hanging out doing something else. And so also I would say if you're really into this game too, is bring extra decks. Because, I mean, some dude be like, oh, I really like this game, looks fun. And then you whip out Red Pterosaur, hand it to him, which is, in my opinion, the easiest deck to give someone that's never played the game before.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's the deck we've gotten so many people into the game with. I handed
100%.
my fiance Red Pterosaur. We handed my cousin Red Pterosaur.
My brother played Red Pterosaur at Columbus and came 114th place or top 128. So... it is the deck to get people into it, and then it's one of those decks that expands your mind. But I want to actually talk about online tournaments when we're talking about what to expect. Expect people to have terrible setups.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, I can't tell you how long I spent on my setup to make it look nice. I was trying for so long. I had the most bizarre setup. I had books stacked up behind my monitor, just to get a good top view angle. And I played against a guy in round who had to have a GoPro on a bill of his hat, just hovering over his. It was so.
Oh
jank.
My god, that's terrible. No, and I took 3 hours to set up for my first online tournament just because I come from a video production background, so I'm like, I need to light this right. And I can't, dude, I can't look like some of these streams where you have glare on the card sleeves, and I want to make sure they can still see my hands so they know I'm not doing anything shady. So yeah, that's the big thing, dude, is bad. I had one where the angle of the cards is you could barely tell, unless you knew the card, you could barely tell what it was. The only thing you could tell is what color it was. For sure, you're like, okay, that's a purple card. It's actually hard with that, what's that red lion thing, Storm something.
Oh, are you talking about the Emperor Leon?
Yeah, Emperor. What? No, yeah, is that the dude from set 1, right? The red card.
He's I think he costs 6. And
but he looks like
everything.
he's probably he looks like he could be a white card with how much white is on that XR or the XR.
Yeah.
So
I know exactly what you're talking about.
So you're gonna see really bad setups, and the big thing I say about those tournaments is if it's bad where you can't really tell what's going on, and they're grabbing stuff like moving their cores from the reserve and half of their cores are off screen, don't be afraid to call a judge, because at the end of the day, you're good. At the end of the day, there's still a good bit of prizing, and a lot of times people are doing it unintentionally, but the one time somebody does it on purpose, you're never going to know. So, and if you catch somebody cheating, then this kind of goes in cheating. But if you catch somebody cheating, you're actually protecting the community. So don't ever feel like you're the asshole because you're doing something to protect the community. Now you don't have to be like, "Yo, bro, like I know you're pulling some shady shit." Like you don't
Yeah,
be like
yeah.
that, but like, hey,
The biggest thing too is you're protecting the other competitors who are playing. If you're not gonna call someone out for obvious bad setup or obviously cheating, you're just doing not only yourself a disservice but the other competitors. I made it to like round 6 or 7, and I was playing that. I think the guy with the GoPro on his head
yeah.
was like round 6 of my
Oh
tournament.
my
I was like,
god.
"What are you doing? How did you make it this far?" His hand wasn't on screen, like nothing.
Oh my
It
god.
was it was probably like a 6 inch by, I don't know, let's just say 6 by 6 inch, like
I
square.
I can
He
I
was like,
can I can just imagine just when you say GoPro, I can imagine like GoPro in narrow mode.
oh
That's what
yeah,
I see in my head.
dude, it was awful. And he kept, I mean, he was a really nice guy. I have to say, that was the thing that was the most surprising. He was like, it, I don't think it was out of, like being malicious,
Malice,
as
yeah.
more as it was like, it was just necessity. I don't think he had anything else to do. I
What?
heard in one of the first ones too, some guy had his girlfriend just stand next to the table and hold the camera
I've
for
well
six
that dude
hours.
that's true love right there. It's like, oh
I
hey
know,
baby, can
right?
you hold like for like 12 hours? Can you hold this phone here for me? And just like if you, I'll scratch your ass if you need it scratched. Okay,
I know,
that's
right?
true love right there. But I've also heard on a couple other creators videos is people are even like just holding their phone and playing in the back of their car because they got out of work
Oh,
late or something like that, and they just play the whole
yeah.
tournament like that. I'm like, dude, at that point, I'm like, okay, can I just take a round one loss? I'm gonna drive 35 minutes to my house and like
To the
actually set up.
library, bro.
Yeah, dude, like it's crazy. People are crazy out, but
Oh,
like I
man.
said, online tournaments, um, what you expect other or what you expect from other people should be what you expect from yourself. So, like, if you expect other people to want to be able to see your board and you want to set up properly for that, just expect the same thing in return. Because
Yeah.
that's the big thing is like, why, like, if we all start letting that stuff away, we're going to get to a point where, oh, hey, I'm going to hold it in like TikTok mode, like, not vertical mode, and we're gonna
Yeah.
play that way, and it kills the online scene. And that right now, with how small this card game is, the online tournaments are extremely crucial because not a lot of people can get to these grand opens. Not like my brother and my cousin, they're driving up to actually one of Cosmic stores up in Michigan from Toledo. They're driving an hour away. Well, if you don't have a car, you can't get to a local that might be 25, 30 minutes away. So these
Yeah.
online tournaments are crucial. Now, I know you've been playing card games for a while, and I'm going to talk more from like the Pokemon side, even though I went to Columbus. But these grand opens, they're the equivalent to really any other card games regional.
Hmm.
What do you when you walked into Columbus for the first time? Tell everybody what they should expect because that's what you're probably going to get from every other tournament, at least at the base level.
I will say the biggest thing that I actually was expecting that wasn't there was a lot of vendors. I thought there
Mm-hmm.
were going to be a lot of vendors, and there's one. There was one, and that was for both One
And
Piece
I think he
and
was there
Battle
for One
Spirits.
Piece. I don't think he was really thinking about Battle Spirits. Like he brought some Battle
Oh,
Spirit stuff, but like I heard he had like maybe like 50 cards, for both games set up, and he had
yeah.
sleeves and stuff like that. It was a terrible experience. I come from Pokemon, so like I'm used to at
Hmm.
least four to five vendors,
Yeah.
and that's just for card stuff. And they usually bring hundreds of $1,000s worth of product with them.
Yeah, so I would say you should probably bring sleeves. Is the biggest thing you want, spare sleeves at a tournament like that. I actually suggest not bringing a trade binder because it's already hectic enough. Your mind's going to be on the game if you're there, especially if you traveled. You put money in, you invested money into that trip. You're not really going to be thinking, oh, like, I want to set some time aside to trade. And
Hmm.
um, it's a lot more strict in those kinds of venues too. You cannot buy cards with cash. You will get permanently banned from most card
Yep.
games if you do that. So don't do that. I would honestly recommend, and I don't mean from vendors, obviously, just like from other players. Don't
Yeah.
offer to buy their cards.
No, definitely not.
That's not for you to do there.
It could be like what the police do for ticket scalpers. They might have like an undercover guy, like, hey man, let's do the sale. Oh, you want 4 absolute ice shields? I'll give them to you for $5 a piece. Because I think also they do that to protect their players. Because imagine if you had your deck stolen.
And that actually did happen. Somebody had, I think it was a whole backpack stolen in Ohio. So I guess what I'm trying to say is travel light, but travel with the essentials.
Yeah.
Travel with the things that you're not going to miss if they get stolen, like sleeves. Obviously, if your deck gets stolen, that's worst case scenario. We also had a lot of honest people there too. Somebody left their entire deck, like their whole deck. They just left it for one of the rounds.
Yeah.
And what's the next round? And they're like, I don't know where my deck is. Somebody had turned it in. So that happened right next to me.
It actually happened to me with my mat. Like I left my Boss FG, our old brand name. I left my Boss FG mat on the table, walked away, was talking to people, and my cousin's like, "Oh, Kyle, isn't this your mat?" Because it was just up at that check-in table. So that's what's the great thing about this community is they're honest people. Like some communities, I'm not going to talk about the card games, but if you're in the card game community, you kind of know what we're talking about.
Know.
But you have to. It's the first time I ever saw the pregnancy way to carry a backpack where you have it in front of you because people just steal stuff. We don't have that that much in this community.
Oh, no.
There's always going to be something, but
yeah, I will say too. Just kind of come with, like I said, only the essentials. If you only bring the deck that you're going to play in your tournament, bring your side deck. Obviously, bring some dice because that's the last thing you want to be asking people for.
I do it every week. I always ask you for your dice every week.
Yeah. And I always have them because I'm that guy,
Yeah.
But bring the essentials. Don't bring too much, and you don't want to be fumbling with a whole bunch of stuff. I saw people with big 2-player mats that they were bringing, fumbling between rounds, trying to pick it all up and put it all in their backpack to get to their next round, especially with how quick that event was moving. They were pushing us. They were like, all right, round's over. We are posting the next round now. Like, you guys need to keep it moving.
Just go.
Yeah, kind of be in that mindset, though, is you're there to play in that tournament. If you have time at the end of day 1 or before day 2 starts, or even before day 1 starts, talk, do all that, get that all out of the way as soon as possible. People will not want to trade or talk with you before day 1.
No,
I will tell you right now.
They're stressed out enough. They're stressed out enough. But I also always say, bring, when I go to any regional, and now Grand Opens, I always bring 3 boxes of sleeves with me. The reason why I bring 3 boxes, and it's always the same color, it's the Nebula sleeves by Dragon Shield. I love them. Is you always want to, you'll play with the sleeves you've been playing with, testing with, you'll play with it the day you get there to test. Then if you get there the day before like I do, and we'll go over in another video or podcast, we'll talk about best travel practices. But I always play with the sleeves I've been playing with, testing with, and then I re-sleeve in I don't lay my deck out, I just sleeve it up in the order, and then I have fresh sleeves. Now the reason why I bring two extra boxes is, one is going from day 1 to day 2, or Swiss rounds to top cut, and also just the way sleeves are manufactured, they're mass produced. So having those extra box sleeves in case you get a box that's defective, you're not like, oh well, now I don't have a box of sleeves for day 2. And with the way that Battle Spirits is right now, you're not going to have vendors to go buy it, and you might not be able to get to a Walmart that has sleeves that you like. So it's always good to bring an extra box. I usually go through all 3 boxes just because I halfway through day 1, I like to fully re-sleeve because I do not want to get caught with a bent corner or damaged sleeve and then get labeled as a cheater when it's just normal wear and tear. And most people won't, but they'll be like, oh, well, you're DQ'd. And hey, I could have been undefeated at that point. And because I have a bent corner on a sleeve, on an Absolute Ice Shield, and I didn't know it was an Absolute Ice Shield, it's good just to bring extra sleeves. Now, what's the largest type of tournament you've been to?
I've been
Just
to
in card games in general.
I've been to a Yu-Gi-Oh regional, which was huge. Because I will say when I got back into card games more in a serious way, it was 2019. So it's
Oh, right
not
before
really a good
COVID.
time.
Oh, right
Yeah,
before COVID.
not
Great.
really a good time.
No, it's the perfect time
Right. And
to
I
get
spent
fucked.
a ton of money, right? I spent a lot of money on Yu-Gi-Oh in that time. And then when tournaments came back, I was just playing in locals, especially with my brother. We got into Yu-Gi-Oh. That's where his background comes from too.
Gotcha.
And we went to, it was earlier this year. If you're familiar with Yu-Gi-Oh, it was right before or right after Photon Hypernova came out, and right when
That's why I'm not going to be the one that's on the Yu-Gi-Oh podcast. That's why I'm going to get people to do the Yu-Gi-Oh podcast, because I have no clue what that is. That just sounds like two cool names put together. I don't know. Is that like a magic card?
That's Yu-Gi-Oh. Yeah, that's
I don't know. I played.
That was a set.
I played with Dark Magician Girl and Dark Magician and Blue Eyes White Dragon and whatever the fusion dude was, Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. I haven't played really anything. I'm like old school Yu-Gi-Oh. I'm not this new school fusion, pendulum, hyper dragon stuff. Like, no, I don't know what this is. I don't know what you're talking about, homie.
No, and I mean, that event itself was insane. I mean, it was probably the same attendance level as that Battle Spirits regional we went to, but I hate to say this, but the venue is way better. And
so are you just telling
like
Bandai needs to get their
vendors.
shit together? Is that what you're saying? They need to get their
no,
shit
that
together?
convention center needs to get their shit together.
Why
Not
here?
Ohio.
It's like most. I feel like that's most of them. You'll know when you go to Tulsa. It's either going to be a Bandai problem or that convention center's problem.
Yeah, but definitely I was surprised to see how well I'd never been to a big event where there was two card games playing at once too.
Yeah.
So that was really cool to see. There was like a big screen for the casters for both games talking about the rounds.
No, it was just one piece. They didn't have Battle Spirits. The only screen
they weren't streaming it.
They were streaming it, but they didn't get their screen in on time for Battle Spirits. They only got the one piece one in.
That's such a shame because it seemed like it was pretty hyped too, especially with
dude, Battle Spirits just with the way that stuff, like with the burst stuff, it gets more exciting. But we can talk about. I have so many ideas for streams in my brain that I want to, like, the casting's fine, but like there's stuff like in Japan, the way that they do the Pokemon streams, it's just way more intense, and they need to have somebody in there that has experience telling stories with switching like that, because you are as the engineer on the stream, you're telling a story visually to people on the internet. So you need to like be able to switch to cams, and Pokemon's getting better at this, but the Japanese, they're crazy good. Like I have ideas for how the stream should go, like visually, but that's just because I come from a production background.
Yeah, that's what you need, though.
Yeah,
to be honest, you get some hype in there and some good camera angles, some good camera angle switching.
And when a stressful situation, and then when you have a stressful situation, you need to cut to the person that it's against, or their reaction to the way they win the game. But the reason why I asked that is I've been to what's the biggest Pokemon tournament I've been to? The biggest one I've played in was 1,800 people. And that was last year's IC or NAIC. But I come from Pokemon when we were getting 250 people at a regional equivalent event. So I've seen all levels, and that the only thing I haven't been to that's large for Pokemon is Worlds. That's just a whole different beast, but that's also the only true invite tournament for Pokemon every year is Worlds. So I've been to huge tournaments, and that's why I always say bring those extra cards. Bring lots of water.
Yeah,
that's your big thing, is water and Nutrigrain bars. You want to stay hydrated, and you want to keep your sugar levels up when you go to these tournaments, because you're playing 12 to 14 hours in a day. You're going to be mentally taxed halfway through. Make sure you eat lunch if they give you a lunch break. And that's why I also say bring snacks. Is some card games, they almost didn't give us a lunch for Battle Spirits. You know that, right?
Yeah,
It came this close. I went to like Knoxville, and I don't think we had a lunch break at Knoxville for Pokemon. And
really.
I was they had extended breaks, like extra 10 minutes in between rounds, like the middle 3 rounds. But not having a lunch break can really kill mentally. Oh no, it wasn't. It was Charlotte. It wasn't Knoxville. It was Charlotte, because I did go for lunch for Knoxville. Charlotte, and it torches your brain. So you want to eat a good breakfast before you go into any major tournament. Eat a good breakfast. Bring 1 or 2 large water bottles with you. Bring a salty snack and a sugary snack, and that's what I would suggest going to any sort of event that's going to be more than 5 rounds.
Oh yeah, because I do want to touch on this just a little bit too. I don't want to harp on it a lot, but those events are exhausting. A whole different type of exhausting. That if you have not played, you don't know what it's like. I mean, we're talking a full work day's worth, like 7 to 8 hours of games nonstop, and depending on the venue that you're playing in, it's a whole nother level of stress when I think it was like 80 or 90 degrees.
Dude, it felt like what it feels outside today. It felt like 100 degrees
in Florida.
In there. Yeah, and I wasn't expecting that, so I had a slightly heavier shirt on. Like
I had a jacket. Yeah,
dude, I would be wearing like some sort of like moisture wicking stuff, or like a long like shirt where I could get it wet and stay cool. But dude, I started sweating so bad, and my cousin's sitting next to me, and I go to I text like almost at the end of the round. I text real quick, which you're not supposed to do, but like I just needed one of the people on my team to go grab something. Like, I need you guys to either bring me deodorant or like cologne or something, because I'm stanking up a storm. And then my cousin looks at me, we both get done at the round at the same time, and it's like, dude, like, you're the one that smells. I thought it was these 2 dudes that were sitting next to me. They look a little dirty. So, oh, that's a big thing too when you go to these tournaments. Make sure this should not. You don't have to. You shouldn't have to say this, but take a shower. Put extra deodorant. Actually, before I go, and this might be a little bit PDA, but and it might be weird, but it comes from my wrestling times. But my wrestling times were for different reasons. I shave my armpits before, if I'm playing like 4 straight tournament like regionals. Like, I'll shave my armpits because, dude, I'm a fucking sweater, and if I have like hair, it smells really bad. I could take a shower and I could put on cologne and deodorant, but like, dude, I sweat bad, and I feel bad for my opponents because I smell like a straight fucking onion. So like, I do that. Like, I know it's a little PDA, internet, crucify me. I don't give a shit, but I'll do it. I haven't done it in a while, but I had a couple events where I was like, for like a month and a half, 2 months, something like that. I was at a regional level event every weekend, and then I was at like equivalent to a store championship at least 2 or 3 of those weeks every week.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
dude.
it was bad, dude. It was bad, and like, this is the first time I ever was around more than like 700 people at a tournament, and I also, for me, and the reason why I think a lot of people sweat more when they're at tournaments is your adrenaline's up. But for me, with my military background, I get stressed in large groups of people, even if we're spread out.
Yeah.
And these events that I was going to at the time we had one of those tables that we were at. There was like 15, 16 games going on one of those tables, which is like,
God.
Imagine like there's that divider in the middle of a table. They like the folding tables. Imagine like 4 games to your left, 4 games. So you're talking about what, 16 people at a table. It gets really hot, especially when you're like elbow to elbow and you can't really move. It stresses me out.
Back to back in some venues too. Oh yeah,
dude. And then when you're playing decks that play the whole 60 minutes, like it gets stressful because yes, you get that you start jam packed in there, so you stress out there, and then you're like, okay, well, I've won game 1, they won game 2. We're in game 3 with 15 minutes left, and you're stressed the fuck out. Like, your adrenaline just spikes. Like, I'm surprised I haven't had a heart attack in one of these venues.
Well, I was gonna say too, I think that's why Pterosaur was so popular. It is kind of, and I don't mean this in any negative connotation, but it was really like the no brain deck. You turn cards sideways, and you're happy with it, and it's in those high round tournaments. There was 9 rounds in Ohio, 7 on day one, and we had to play 2 more on the next day.
I almost didn't come for day 2, but my brother was like 4-1, I think, at the time. So I'm like, yep, we gotta go.
Wow. Yeah, and like
5-1, 4-1. Yeah, yeah.
And then you just want to be more comfortable. Play a deck that you're comfortable with. Don't bring a deck that's going to take a whole lot of brain power. If you're from Pokemon, it's like, don't bring Gardevoir if that's your first tournament.
No, Gardevoir doesn't take that much. That's Lost Box like that. And that's what I take to every one of my tournaments now. I love Lost Box. I like big brain decks. Like, I do. So I think it's more of it's more of don't bring it unless if you like those style decks. If you're playing, I think you're saying like just if you're getting into competitive card games in general, right?
Yeah. Just don't overexert yourself. Bring something that you're comfortable with, that you feel like is not going to take a whole lot of brain power, because like literally 8 hours worth of focus will drain you in a way that you did not know you could be drained. I mean, seriously, you don't even play in sports competitions that long. Obviously, there's a more physical aspect to it. It's a lot different, but you're not like genuinely. You're gonna have to be lasered in for an hour round.
It's actually more taxing, they say, because they say chess is with the way high level chess. With the way they're thinking, it's equivalent to playing in a sporting event with the amount of energy you're exerting. So you don't even notice it when you're at the event. It's the end of the day, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Or
if you get back to your hotel.
Or if you had like a bad first 4 rounds, then you'll feel it then. But if you're having like an okay, or you're having fun doing it, you're not going to notice it until getting to your hotel or halfway through your drive home, dude. Oh my God. I remember we got a hotel. We were gonna go to back up to Toledo to my brother's place, and we got done with day 1, and we were really thinking like, okay, we're like, oh yeah, we're gonna do day 2. We got this, and then we got in the car, and we're 5 minutes down the road. We got out of the parking lot, and we're like, oh my God, we got to get a hotel here. And I guess we're going to get a day 2, and good thing it did, because my brother got 1/14 or whatever it was. But yeah, no. So we the next one I want to talk about is Worlds too. Is I've never been to a Worlds level tournament ever.
No. Me neither.
So this is all speculation just from years of going to events and then talking to people. Like, I have a lot of high level Pokemon friends. I have I think 5 of my friends are at Worlds right now in Yokohama. I think one of them scrubbed out day 1. I think one made day 2, and I haven't talked to the other 3. But yeah, Worlds is, at least in this card game. I don't know if other card games just are like larger internationals or just have a huge player base, but when it comes to Worlds. But this card game's not going to be that big. What, 192 slots?
Yeah, I think so.
So that you just got to expect. And if you've been invited to go to one of these tournaments, then you already know what to expect from a tournament. It's just,
yeah, you probably don't need us scrubs.
Yeah, it's just a 10 times. It's just a higher skill level tournament.
Oh yeah.
Maybe not this year for this game, since the pool for Pro Tours, or for Grand Opens, and the Pro Tour slots are just, it's easy to get those with the size of what Lam Tam was and stuff like that, with 60 something players and half of them getting their Pro Tour invite. So it might be a slightly lower skill gap this year, but as the game grows, it's just going to be more and more high level players at these events. So just be prepared. It's not even about at the tournament. It's your prep before the tournament. Is think of even the weird decks going into it. And that's what you should really be thinking is when you're testing going into these tournaments is what do I think are going to be the meta? You test against the meta deck and hey, what's the weird decks that are off meta that you could possibly play against at these tournaments? Yeah, so I just want to really quickly go into accessories you're going to need for Battle Spirits. I think that's what I wanted to get into real quick after we talked about what you're expecting at tournaments, because we went a little bit over it already. Is the sleeves? You're going to need sleeves. I like Dragon Shields. I use the Nebula exclusively. Nebula is the color. The regular Dragon Shields, they're my favorite sleeve, but I also am very biased because I like the color more than the quality of sleeves. But it's just lucky that Dragon Shield has great sleeves. But yeah, what sleeves do you use? You use Dragon Shields?
Dragon Shield. I love that company. I've always used their sleeves. Oh, we're not even sponsored. I just
Yeah,
love them.
exactly.
I love that you can buy them at Walmart.
For some reason, I feel like the Walmart ones are actually worse. I've bought in gold ones there, and they feel like shit, dude. Like they feel like penny sleeve. It's not thin. It's just like the material doesn't feel the same. So I think it just might be it might be Dragon Shield, but they're lower quality stuff.
Yeah, I do love their products. I literally only use them, and then whatever penny sleeves.
Yeah.
I don't know what brand those are. Upper Deck.
I don't know. I don't know what penny sleeves are. I thought they were called penny sleeves because they're made by Penny Sleeve. I don't know. And then a mat. Like I really do suggest playing with the mat. The big thing. Dude,
yeah.
Oh, dude, I've forgot my mat a couple times before going to Sunshine. Because of the way the sleeves are, they catch on those so bad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's so grimy.
What do you have what brand is your mat?
It's custom. It was made on Etsy.
Etsy?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you can go to any Oh, I got the burps going on today. I don't know why. But yeah, you could go on to your local card shop. Will have them too. Mostly Magic ones. Like I see a lot of Magic ones, but those Pokemon ones, all that stuff. Yeah, no, there's a lot of cool designs. You can find something like I saw somebody had a Gundam playmat.
Yeah.
From Battle Spirits. So
that's so sick. I've seen so many people, like especially at the Grand Open, so many people had the Battle Spirits, like Japanese Battle Spirits. Somebody had like a Leaf Wolf playmat, which looks so
a Leaf
sick.
Wolf?
Yeah, like from the starter deck. He looks so cool.
I want one.
I know the dog.
He's so cute. But, Leaf Wolf is the one in the video that's getting like attacked by the bird, right?
Yeah. He's like the best Flash Spirit out right now.
And then you play with the cores, right? Exclusively.
I play with the little plastic cores.
Are you planning to switch at all?
Fuck no.
I haven't changed your mind yet.
No, you and my brother both play.
So
you guys both. I honestly, I like the little gems. I think it's. I want to be brave enough to eat one in front of my opponent one day.
Don't do that. Don't do that. I'm not trying.
Like
I'm not. Yeah. Don't. No. Because then it's gonna get caught, and then we're gonna have Florida man dies from eating core from Battle Spirits Saga. That's what we're gonna have.
It would be my honor.
Yeah. No. And then you're gonna kill the card game because you died.
No, it would bring so much exposure to it.
They're like, oh, we didn't like that guy anyways. He was a purple whore. He was a purple.
He was a weirdo.
And then, so how do you hold your cores?
I have a Battle Spirits core case. I have a few now at this point. Like a stack of them.
Because you play way too much online events, don't you?
Well, I think.
Oh, you got one for Top 64. You got one for Top 64. I
was gonna say.
Is that the one that was scratched that you got?
No, the first one I got was actually from like the influencer event.
Oh, you're talking about the launch event. The launch event. One at Sunshine.
Yeah. No, it was at a actual like a faraway store that was doing one later because I didn't go to any of the first ones.
Okay. I actually would say if I would. And this is my girlfriend made this for my birthday this year, but like I would get something like this, dude.
Dude, that's so sick.
This is cool, and it's purple, and like purple's my favorite color. Even though you're the purple whore, I'm the one that loves purple, so I actually like go buy, pay for you on the from the purple corner. But yeah, like just like somewhere to put your cores that they're not just gonna be all over the table. It's easier to grab from the void. Instead of just like jamming them in your pocket. I mean, you could do that.
Oh my god!
But
no
dude, I was
way,
looking
you could not do that,
bro. I was looking at pictures from Monroeville, and there was this person going around taking pictures of all the random spots that there was cores around the event hall.
That's so funny.
But
if somebody was pulling cores out of their pocket, I'd be like, bro, you can't.
I'm just saying that people. I wouldn't be surprised if people have. I haven't seen them, but I wouldn't be surprised if people have. Just find a little case.
Your little breast pocket, like. Oh,
It's my
here's
little
some
friend.
chorus.
It's my little friend. Oh, another little friend. Oh, another. And you just keep it. It's like, dude, you've been doing this for 45 minutes and you have like 75. Where are they come from? They're coming from my other pocket. But
cargo pocket.
yeah, but find the exact cargo pocket. But find a little case to put those in. But I would suggest play with the cards. You get them in every pack. And now they're multi-purpose because one side's a core and one side is a token. So they're dual purpose now. They're not just some weird like, oh, hey, flip this over. And now you have 4 of them, which makes no sense because how are you going to keep track? But I wanted to get to our next topic because I would say binder as well. Would you suggest binder?
Again, for a smaller tournament like your locals, you get like a cheap one. You don't need to, especially if it's a trade binder.
Yeah.
Don't get an expensive trade binder because it's going to get beat to hell in your backpack anyways. You definitely need a backpack, by the way.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
100%.
You need a backpack. It can be your school backpack.
I mean, eventually, I'd like to do a whole line of like TCG accessory clothing where you like have a sweatshirt that like has a little pocket for your deck and stuff like that. Pretty cool.
That'd be sick.
Oh, imagine doing a little sleeve pocket and like you can just like push out like cores like as you're playing the game. Imagine that shit. It'd be hilarious.
Thing.
Yeah, it'd be funny. But I want to kind of go over something that I've talked to multiple people about. Is different mechanics we'd like to be added to the game that we haven't been spoiled with or they haven't said yet, like they're going to be coming to Battle Spirits. And one of them, I think it kind of does the same thing. You were sending me a photo when we did our video yesterday. Is I'd like to see some sort of anti-burst card. And you said there is a card, and it's from the new. It's a spirit. It's heroic. Lord Dragon, some fire winged dragon dude, and it says at level 1, 2, and 3. And level 1 is 5k. This spirit gains confront if you have a burst card set while the spirit attacks confront. But the big thing you're saying is the second part. If you wanted to read that, while the spirit attacks.
Yeah, at level 3, it has 1100 BP. When the spirit attacks, when your opponent activates a burst card that does not share a color with any of the symbols on their field, place 1 core from their life into the reserve. So it's pretty nice. You could just waste an ice shield.
But see, that's different. This is going to come into ruling, and I've actually been falling back to you for rulings. You actually have been able to put like the way the ruling's supposed to be in terms that I can understand. When some people explain stuff to me, I can't really understand what they're saying, but you put them into terms like in this situation, right? It says when your opponent activates a burst card that does not share the same color.
Yeah.
Now, when does this end?
Like when does it check?
Yeah, like when, like so this has to attack, but when does this stop? It doesn't say at until the end of the turn,
right?
Or anything like that.
It would be like in this case with this spirit, it would only be against spirit or burst cards that activate on its attack. So, for example, if they played a burst card that said when your spirit is destroyed, and your Worm Lord did destroy something by battle, if it does not match like a symbol on their board, you're dealing them a life.
This is even crazier. I just read you missed a part in here. It says when your opponent activates a burst card that does not share the color with any of the symbols on their field, place 1 core from their. Oh, did you say apart from their life into the reserve?
Mm-hmm.
So if they activate Dream Bomb,
they're dead.
Yeah, they're screwed.
Yeah. If you attack them at 2 life and they don't block and they try to activate Dream Bomb, they just die because they would go to 0. It doesn't kill them through Ice Shield though, because if they were at 2 life and you would connect attacking their life with this card at level 3, they would lose a life from the attack. They would flip up the Ice Shield, gain the life back, and then as soon as they gain that life back, it would go right back to to the reserve.
Okay,
so
so
lose it.
gotcha. So it just basically null and voids Ice Shield. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Um,
Which is good because it prevents them from doing it again. Like
Right.
if they had another one in hand.
right. Oh, so no, but the one from hand would be not considered a burst card at that point. It would
Yeah,
just
but they would
end
have
the
to
step.
use it. Right. They would have to use it like in a way that would, you know what I mean? Like they're not going to be able to gain a life back
Yeah.
from any of their ice shields anymore.
Yeah. So this is our absolute Ice Shield counter. But I'd like to
Basically, I
see it
mean,
more of like a
our first
burst
one-
card. Like I'd like to see it
Yeah.
on a burst. Like it's saying like, you know, like if they put a life or a core from their life to their reserve back into their life, or they put a life into or a core into their life, put a basically the same effect but on a burst card. Because I actually think this card's gonna be it's gonna be good and healthy right in the beginning, but I think eventually this is gonna, you know, get out of hand.
Yeah, this card specifically, Heroic Wormlord Dragon, he's going to be played in red side decks, I think, as a staple. I think he's too oppressive against decks that like have to play the native Ice Shield.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're playing against purple and you summon this card, you're just going in. Nobody you're waiting for. You're just
Right.
attacking. If you're playing against, I mean, anything except white, and you're able to play this card,
Yeah,
you're kind of chilling, really.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, but I really want to see it on an actual like magic
Another
card.
burst.
That's my
Yeah.
big thing. It's just having it on a magic card would be awesome. Just to be like, it's not even for like what it does within the game mechanics. I'd like to just see it from the streaming side.
Yeah.
Like
The
imagine
hype,
like
yeah.
oh hey, I'm gonna burst Absolute Ice Shield. Oh, funny enough, I got anti shield.
Yeah, or
Like
like
imagine that, just like what? That's just crazy.
like piercing blow just
Yeah.
deals. If your opponent heals a life, deal 2 damage to them.
Yeah,
Just
and then
kill.
imagine if like then you could play cards that also combo with like out of the hand. They're like, oh well, you play that, I'm gonna play this, and then this person's like, no, I'm gonna play this, and then just that interaction from a streaming excitement standpoint feels like League of Legends, like stuff
Yeah.
like that. So I feel like
I've
it could
already-
really add to it.
I've already thought of it. You just have a red card that it's a burst.
Mhm.
Its burst effect is when your opponent gains a life, you deal 1 damage to them, and then you can also activate its main effect, and its just main effect is pay like 6 cores to just deal damage to your opponent.
Oh my god.
That would be
No,
so
I
good.
knowing red, it would be more like destroy
Destroy 10 cards.
yeah, something crazy, or it would be like destroy 2 4K or fewer monsters on the field. So like
Yeah,
a
it would be
burning
cool,
force.
too.
Yeah, I think it'd be super interesting gameplay. But like I don't know if you had time to really think about it, but like any other cool mechanics you'd like to see?
Yeah, there's actually especially since Battle Spirits Saga has come out, I've been kind of looking into Japanese Battle
Mhm.
Spirits a little bit. So there's actually two Japanese Battle Spirits mechanics that I really want to see, and because for spoiler reasons, I don't want to spoil people who don't know too much about it, but the one that I have to spoil because I think it's so cool, and somebody who likes Pokemon, you'll understand this. They have a Pokemon-esque mechanic where you have a partner spirit that you just start with on your field, and it can evolve through different means. And if it dies, it goes outside of the game, but you could just pay its cores to resummon it from that spot. It's like
So
totally
well,
different.
no, that's closer to Commander
Commander.
and Magic. Yeah, that's super sick. That's an
And it evolves too through like different means where it's like if certain conditions are
What?
set. Yeah.
oh
There's
my
some
god.
really cool ones, and they call them like the first set that it came out with. I think it was like the first partner set, like the same way they call Pokemon first partner Pokemon.
Oh my god. I
There was
think
one for every color. There was a dog. Oh, it was so cool,
Oh my god, dude, that sounds super freaking cool.
dude. I know. Can you imagine? Like you buy
Oh
one
my
box
God.
and you just let it decide
Dude,
for
like
you which one you're gonna start with.
you have like 3 different levels, and one's a turtle, one's like a turtle with a single cannon, and there's a turtle
Yeah.
with like 6 cannons, and they say
Oh,
that
yeah.
his name is Royd, and he likes to
Roy.
blast. Call him Blastroids.
Hell yeah, dude.
But dude, that's something Japanese battle spirits?
Oh yeah, it looks really cool. I think they're called I want to say they're companions, but I don't think that's right. If you know, let us know in the comments what
Yeah,
they're called, because
100%.
yeah, it's so exciting.
Because
That kind of stuff is
that
what
just
gets
like
my brain
triggers
juices going.
that's triggers so much cool stuff in my brain.
I know, right?
But I want to go with one more that I was thinking of. And this is not from anywhere. This is something I think would be cool. Is so currently in Pokemon, they brought back the Lost Zone. It's been around for about a year and a half now.
Yeah.
And they have cards that interact with counts of cards that are in your Lost Zone. So like it'll say like how many cards in your Lost Zone you can do this. How many if you have this many in your Lost Zone you can do that. If you have these type of cards in your Lost Zone you can do that. Or you could play these things off this Pokemon and do this, and do this much damage and put it into your Lost Zone. So I'd like to see some sort of Lost Zone mechanic. They'd probably call it a Void mechanic, and putting that into it where it's like, and they could do it as like a on effect. And I think this is better than the one that they spoiled, but like the anti-burst on a monster as an effect, but you have to pay cores off of the monster and put them out of the game state. Like I think that'd be super interesting. Like, hey, pay 4 cores off of this this spirit, put them back in the void, and it clears all 6Ks or fewer.
Dude, yeah, or it just clears your opponent's burst card.
And clears their burst, right? Like, do this as or reverse, like do reverse the effect of the burst, and then it ends their turn. So you're ice shielding, but you're doing it on the attack, not the defense.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty interesting. Like they would still lose the life or something like that. I think that'd be super interesting doing something with like a Lost Zone.
Yeah, no, that sounds so cool. I mean,
they call it like Void Zone or something like that. I think they would call it Void Zone. So Pokemon does not sue their ass.
Yeah, Pokemon would too.
Yeah. But I do want to talk about something super cool. Like, I know I've heard a lot of people talking about this within the community, but the thing that Battle Spirits is missing is a TV show. Like Vanguard had a TV show, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon have all had TV shows.
Japanese Battle Spirits has a show.
Yes, but we don't have a Battle Spirits Saga show, and we both took a position on this one, and it's more of like style of how they would do it, and you picked the anime version. Now, give me 2 ideas of like how you'd like to see a Battle Spirits show go off.
The first thing that I would focus on is, like, I know this is it might be a hot take, I'm not sure. When it comes to card game animes, I grew up on Yu-Gi-Oh!
I think a lot of us did.
Yeah, I think it's kind of hard for me because I'm so biased. I watched Yu-Gi-Oh! As much as I could on the TV, and I'd like to see something like that for Battle Spirits. I think it just lends better to a anime aesthetic where you could just have these big crazy monsters. The art design's kind of already in that direction, not really maybe as anime as some, but I definitely think it would lend itself a little bit better. I even think of Sigworm Nova or the full 3D trailers they showed us for like Dawn of History and stuff. Even that, I think that it's hard to decide if I would want like a lore or just a card game anime, but why not both? Fuck it.
Dude, imagine if 2 things is I do not want them to bring that 3D element to the TV show, because if you watch the battles, I mean, yes, granted, the first ones are maybe back in the early to mid thousands, right? So like you got to take that with a grain of salt, but I don't think that they would lend themselves to this card game properly. Like, if you're doing a card game version, like I don't think it works. I don't think it visually works, but it's also depending on what your demographic you're shooting for. If you're trying to shoot for kids, like kids are gonna like it. But like if you're shooting for people in our age range, we might not like it as much, but we might like it. I'm very picky on my animes I watch. I don't watch a lot of them. So
No, I completely understand. I think for me, I still have an appreciation for, even if it is kind of geared towards kids, not to say that I'm like, oh, like I got to see it all the time, but I still have an appreciation for
yeah,
it, even if I don't personally watch it. You know, I don't think that my enjoyment for Battle Spirits hinges on there being an anime or not, but
yeah,
if an anime gets more people into the game, I'm happy. And if that's, even if that's a younger audience, I think that's a good way to get loyal players. I mean, that's how they got me in Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh. You know, I played these card games when I'm young, and it come back later on life,
yeah,
and that's when you really get into it. But yeah,
yeah.
I don't think it's a bad idea.
No, and so I'm taking the side of a live action version of Battle Spirits, and I actually have never seen this done. I would like to see a live action card version like Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah.
But the thing that they could do where it brings the lore and that together is you do one of two things. So one of two ways. I would do it as the creative director of the show. I would do it in either they're playing the card games in just after this war that they're having, or something like that, where these cards are opening like this mental portal back to what the battle was. And they're
Dude,
playing it like in, but it looks a little bit like Yu-Gi-Oh. Because it kind of, if you watch the Battle Spirit shows, the way they have it is like how they had Yu-Gi-Oh on the island, the way that they would stand in these on these platforms and play the cards, and they would appear. It's similar in Battle Spirits, like the TV shows. But the cool thing about that is about Battle Spirits TV shows is it's all about this like country versus country type of stuff, and there's a whole thing with that. But if you could do somewhere where in like a 3 or 4 episode arc, it's this like they're playing the cards, but then it's opening this like mental rift into like the past,
like
or
a
this
flashback,
yeah, like a flashback, or like a you're looking into a different dimension. And I think it'd be super interesting to put it on like Netflix or Hulu or HBO, where they can really put a lot of money behind it and have a production value, instead of like a WB or CBS where it's hasn't caught up to like what they're doing. But I would think it would be super interesting to do like a live action version with cards.
No, I agree. That does sound really cool, especially the way that you kind of like lay it out. Even if they couldn't go all the way, if they dedicated enough resources to it, I would still be sick. Even if it was like the 3D renditions they did in the trailer, like that would be sick. If they were like live action, we're playing competitive Battle Spirits with adults who can actually play competitive Battle Spirits, and then even if it was Purple Serpents versus Red Star Dragon, and they had that same flashback from the intro.
Somehow what's happening in they can like go back to these battles, and they're flashbacks to these battles, and somehow they're being recreated, like they didn't learn from the past, and it's just being recreated and starting to rip this world apart. I think they could do that. So that's one way they could do it. Or the other way, still, I just like the card game aesthetic, but I haven't seen anybody do it in real life other than like documentaries. Is why not do like a sports show? So like if you watch like Friday Night Lights or something like that, where it's like a show about football, but like about the competitive circuit, and make it like this grand thing, like it is basketball, it is football, it would be like more like League of Legends. Like people, thousands of people go to these stadiums and watch these battles go on, and they're paying tickets like a boxing match, right? And like it's this whole story about like the top of the top Battle Spirits players battling each other. Like I think that would be super interesting. You could make it live action,
really cool.
And you can do something that is you can take some of those aspects from the show with the way they film it, with like transitions and stuff like that, and implement that into your streams. Some people can then like mentally grasp onto like, oh, hey, I kind of understand this game from the show. Oh, it kind of looks the same in real life. Like now is the show the same as that? Like
Yeah.
I'd like to see that. Like, where they either dive on, like, they're talking about the lore and they have the card game, but they're leaning into the lore because I know that Bandai really wants to lean into the lore and get people to know the lore. But you could also go far from the lore and just focus on the intensity of the game. And then imagine their spoilers line up with the show.
Dude, wouldn't that be so cool, though?
Like, you're not getting spoilers on, like, Twitter or X, formerly known as Twitter. You're not getting them on Facebook, not getting anything there. Is these cards are getting played for the next set,
yeah.
3 weeks after the newest set comes out. But like,
yeah,
hey,
like, oh my God, Kyle just played the new blue card. He's bringing blue to tonight's game.
Yeah, something like that. Oh, or like, or like playing against, like, I'm playing like, say I'm the main character and I'm playing Pterosaur and I'm like, I got everything out, and then it's this new. And I actually didn't know if this is going to be a full topic, and we can go over more about it. So next week. But imagine if they added a new color. So, like, it's just this crazy end of season. Like, oh, the black colors come in, and it's the void.
Yeah.
Like the color of the void.
Can you imagine? People would be shocked. They'd be like, what is that?
It'd be crazy. And it'd be like, it's for like 3 sets down the road. So then it's like they're waiting for the next season to get the spoilers for all the black cards. I think it'd be super interesting. I think that's what they need to get a show, because I think that's going to get people even more excited about it. I think if they can do it right, they get people that weren't interested in card games to be interested in card games. They just watch this cool show everybody's talking about. But of course, I can go north or south on that one. But so I want to. We're getting long in the tooth.
We are
this
way
one.
late. Do you think we just want to wait until next week?
No, we're gonna do the last topic.
Wait, hear me out, because we're talking about we want to do the fantasy draft, right?
Yeah, I was thinking I want to do the fantasy draft. That's what I was really thinking about doing.
Why don't we just wait until we're close to the event? Because if we're doing it now, we kind of miss the opportunity to do it before the pro.
But the thing I wanted to do was I wanted to start the whole season, like, to do this. I got to talk to you more offline about what I want to do, but I want to have a massive tournament. Not for these cards, of course. This would be participation stuff with us signing. But I want to have, like, a case tournament with, like, the top 24 people.
Dude, that'd be sick.
And bring our community into it and be like, hey, come be a part of this. The 24 highest people get in this tournament, and it's for possibly a case of each of the set that come out this year. That's kind of what I'm doing. But if you want to hold it to next week so we can talk a little bit more, you're gonna have to tune in next week, guys.
I know.
But guess what? Hold on. But guess what I'm gonna do before we end? I'm gonna play my burst card.
Oh no!
Yes. We have a
trap.
Oh no! Yeah, we're gonna be doing this whole thing where one of us, every week or every couple weeks, will. So I got the first burst card. Daniel will be able to play the next one. So we can't both be playing. Like, I can't play 3 in a row. So that's gonna be a new aspect to the podcast that we're doing. But I'm playing a burst card, and the burst card is, I want to reveal some of the deck that we'll be playing in Monroeville. I don't want to spoil the whole list. And in this topic, you are forced to spoil 1 Spirits, 1 Magic, and 1 Nexus in the deck that you are pretty sure you're going to be taking to Monroeville. And what we'll be doing after Monroeville is both doing deck profiles, kind of showing the decks and how different they're going to be from what we already know.
Yeah.
So I am in my deck. We're going to call this Secret Deck number 1. I feel like that's a stupid name, but I'm going to flow with it. I'm going to flow with Secret Deck number 1. And we're going to go with the first card that I'm going to talk about. It's a Magic card, and that's Diamond Radiance. It's that white one from the EXO set. And we kind of talked a little bit about the 0 cost last week. But I want to talk about, of the 3 colors of the Radiance, what color do you think is the best one?
Of the Radiance? Like, just a spell card,
of the
right?
two, the 2 cost -1. add 2,000 if you have 3 symbols, which I thought was spirits. That was something I figured that out halfway through Wednesday's tournament last week. 3 symbols, you get to draw a card.
Yeah.
And in white, I think it's good, really good in white.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly think that they're all good. Genuinely, they all are good. Purple's probably the hardest to get off because you don't really have that many. If you have that many purple symbols on the field, you're probably winning anyways. Yeah. You don't really need the draw. But I think probably the best is yellow because they have luster and they can just get it back. It just becomes literally just a draw one.
It's a better Gleam of Hope.
Oh yeah. And I definitely think, especially now they have that other 0 cost, the Tin Soldiers card. I mean, that card's just disgusting already, but you pair him up with some other Luster Spirits, you're just getting free reduction. He's a good blocker. You're dropping. What is the yellow one called? Is it Topaz? Topaz Radiance?
I don't know. Yeah, I think you might be right.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's Topaz Radiance. And I mean, honestly, Gleam of Hope was already insane in the Luster deck. You're dropping that Topaz Radiance at return.
I just think the one that needed it was white. We needed the Diamond Spirits because we had we were forced to play for draw, charge draws in our deck, and we were forced to play Starblast draws if we wanted some sort of draw. Then we got the 0 cost, and then this guy. I don't play the 0 cost in this deck, and that'll be another little spoiler. But yeah, I don't play the 0 cost in this deck just because I don't see the utility behind it. I'm trying to get to white, but yeah, that's the card I'm gonna spoil is Diamond Radiance because I need the draw power. Do you have the deck in mind that you are gonna be playing in either Tulsa or Monroeville?
Yeah, we're just spoiling one card today, right?
We're spoiling a Spirit, Magic, and a Nexus, but just one of each.
I'm trying to think. Okay, I'll spoil a Spirit. Okay. And it's gonna be a Dual Eagle.
Okay. Oh, are you playing a fucking Luster deck, bro?
Yellow.
Blast deck. I mean, I'm sorry, my bad. I know my Battle Spirits cards.
Maybe.
It is. Oh wait, am I gonna be there? Oh, they don't have the magics, but whatever. Because I'm trying to get to filters, colors, whites. Because I want to get to my spirit, and then you can do your magic, and then we'll not do the nexuses. I want to do the nexuses, but we won't do the nexuses.
I was hoping because the nexuses are a little bit more ambiguous.
Oh god!
I'll do the magic card because if I say the magic card, it'll probably spoil what deck it is.
Okay, yeah. Do the nexus or whatever you feel.
I have a pretty good idea. No, I'll go first too. So my other card that I'll spoil is going to be a magic card, and I'm thinking it's going to involve a lightning arrow. I'm not sure if you're too familiar with the lightning arrow.
Lightning arrow. That yellow dude that stopped. Okay, if you guys don't know what this card does, it basically is the anti-Axe Spider magic card.
Well, it can't target Axe Spider because he has armor yellow.
Oh, you're right. Then what was everybody saying? Oh, is it anti-suppression card?
Yeah, I mean it is good in general. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. It's just like, it's not going to be good against Axe Spider. No. There's a different card that I'll be playing that's good against.
Okay, so yeah, I think we play a similar card for that. But I'm going to give my spirit, and I'm not really spoiling it because I kind of talked about this already. It's just Sky Dragon Lord Platinum.
That's his name.
Yeah, we couldn't remember. So so level 1, 2, and 3 is 5,000, 7,000, 9,000. So he has good stats. But where this really helps is against green. It's win summon, return all spirits 3k or fewer. Now you're like, oh, that's only good against tokens and 3ks or fewer, and a lot of people can get out of 3k range. But you know what card combos with it? I'm just gonna add another card in here because I like it, and it's not really once you guys figure out what this deck is and what it's trying to do. Is when you combo with Valkyrie Mist and you keep it at 1k, or you drop it down, you can go Valkyrie Mist, Sky Dragon, Valkyrie Mist. It's an insane combo. Clear their whole board, and unless they have a burst put down, they're not stopping you.
No.
But what it also does is it says F you to your enterprise. You know that, right?
Yeah.
So if your
Well,
guy,
if you,
no, because it's targeting the field
yeah, but Enterprise is too small.
or too big. It's
Oh yeah,
yeah.
it's too big.
It's not too small. Yes, it's too small. But if you don't know it's coming, and you keep stuff and if you don't have your axe biters at level 2 or level 2,
Yeah, level 2.
yeah, because I think what their lowest is 2K. It's like 2 and 5K, right? Or is it 3
It's
and 5K?
3. It's 3 5.
But
yeah.
still, this card allows you to bounce it, which is it's super nice when you're trying to speed get Enterprise on the field, and you need to take the cores off of Axe Biter.
Yeah,
it's super nice.
That's the play I had to make too against you. So yeah, I mean, it would have came up. It probably would have cooked me that game too.
Yeah, but I didn't get him because I only played one of he's just a win more card at that point. When you're dropping them, but like in the very small scenarios, it's actually super helpful. But yeah, that's the burst. That is our burst topic today. We're just gonna do that. I'm not gonna do the Nexus because we'll either do like a Magic or a Nexus when we do it. But you'll get the next burst there, sir. So you're gonna pop a subject matter that I don't know is coming. So I will not be prepped for it. So you'll get my knowledge straight from top of the dome. So, but I guess fine, we will do the fantasy draft next week. But join our Discord. We're gonna put the link to the Discord, and there's a I'm trying to remember what we call it exactly, because I just started building out this Discord. It's the Fantasy BSS League. It'll be on the Discord. Join it, say hi, or join the Discord, say hi, and put your list that we're gonna be doing next week. After next week's episode. I'm super excited, dude, because because this thing is going to be something that I have not seen in any other card game. And fantasy football has only become really popular the last like 15, 16 years. It became popular around the time when they did that fantasy football TV show with like it's called The League, I think it's called. So it's something to bring into this card game that I don't hear anybody else doing, and it's super interesting. There's gonna be some hiccups, but I think it's something interesting and unique to our show that I think it'll be fun for everybody. Especially like, dude, talking crap. That's the big thing about if you only go to locals is just talking crap to your friends. Like, dude, I beat your ass this week, and you were playing Pterosaur, and I was playing like the worst deck, and I still beat your ass, or like, hey, like you're just shit at fucking playing Pterosaur, and I just wiped the floor with the rest of the tournament. You didn't play me because you suck that fucking bad. It gives you that same like talk shit mentality with your friends, and possibly win some cool prizes in the meantime. So, Daniel, do you have anything else there, sir?
No, I want to hear what you guys think in the comments about our podcast today. If there's anything that you thought we talked a little bit too long on, anything you want us to bring up in the next podcast, let us know. I mean, that's all we can ask for. Get talking with us, all right? We talk a lot to each other. We want to talk to you guys too.
Yeah, we could talk for days. We could have been still on the topic of what you should expect at a tournament. Like that's we could have still been on that. Like, hey, what accessories? We could have gone 45 minutes into accessories because, dude, I've probably spent thousands of dollars on accessories.
Don't even get me started.
Yeah, we could go on for days about the accessory topic. But for me, guys, Daniel hit nail on the head. Tell us what you guys like, what you're liking about the show, what you're disliking about the show. And I brought it up in the Pokemon podcast. We are currently looking for more people to do different card games. Of course, me and Daniel will be doing Battle Spirits. If you really want to get on the podcast, we might start bringing on maybe occasionally people in the community that interact within the comments, that share and all that stuff, and get you guys on a segment in the podcast. Maybe talking about your experience at a tournament that you went to, or a cool deck that nobody's ever seen that you wanted to talk about. We'll bring you on the podcast. but also we're looking for Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic the Gathering. I'm looking for a second and a third for Pokemon. And a whole list. I'll put a list of all the games we're looking for positions. If you guys want to come and be part of a growing media company that's basically the ESPN of card games, which nobody's doing. Nobody's really covering card games like ESPN does sports. Hit us up on our email address, and that is bosstcgmedia@gmail.com. And for me and Daniel, guys, we appreciate you guys watching. You all stay blessed, and we'll see you in the next one.
See you guys. Peace.